Genesis chapter 3 tells the story of the fall of man, a pivotal moment in the biblical narrative that has been interpreted and reinterpreted through the ages. This chapter delves into the profound consequences of disobedience and the loss of innocence. It begins in the Garden of Eden, a paradise where God created the first humans, Adam and Eve. They lived in harmony with nature, surrounded by beauty and abundance. God gave them freedom and only one command: not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This tree stood as a test of their obedience and trust in God's wisdom. One day a serpent, known for its cunning nature, approached Eve. The serpent was not just any creature. It was a symbol of temptation and deceit. The serpent was cunning and questioned God's command, planting seeds of doubt in Eve's mind. It was a master of manipulation, twisting words to serve its purpose. He asked Eve if God had really forbidden them to eat from any tree in the garden. This question was designed to confuse and challenge her understanding of God's command. Eve replied that they were free to eat from any tree except one. The serpent, sensing an opportunity, tempted Eve further, playing on her curiosity and desire. He told her that God was keeping something good from them, suggesting that there was more to the forbidden fruit than met the eye. The serpent's words were enticing and filled with promises of hidden knowledge. He claimed that eating the fruit from the forbidden tree would not kill them, but instead make them like God, knowing good and evil. This was the ultimate temptation, the promise of becoming like the divine, which proved too alluring for Eve to resist. Eve looked at the fruit. It looked delicious and desirable. She listened to the serpent's words and doubted God's command. Eve gave in to temptation and ate the fruit. Afterward, she gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate it too. Immediately their eyes were opened, and they realized they were naked. They felt ashamed and tried to hide from God. God knew what they had done. He saw their disobedience and the breaking of the one command he had given them. The harmony of the Garden of Eden was shattered. He called out to Adam and Eve, asking them why they were hiding. His voice echoed through the garden, filled with disappointment and sorrow. Adam blamed Eve and Eve blamed the serpent. The blame game began, each trying to escape responsibility for their actions. God punished the serpent, Eve, and Adam for their disobedience. His judgment was swift and just, reflecting the gravity of their actions. He cursed the serpent to crawl on its belly and eat dust. The serpent, once a creature of beauty, was now condemned to a life of humiliation. He told Eve that childbirth would be painful, and that she would be ruled by her husband. The consequences of their actions would echo through generations, altering the course of human history. God banished Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden. This marked the beginning of a new, harsher reality for humanity. No longer would they enjoy the effortless abundance of the garden. Instead, they were cast into a world where survival required hard work and perseverance. He told Adam that the ground would be cursed, and he would have to toil hard to grow food. The once fertile land would now yield thorns and thistles, making the task of farming a grueling endeavor. This was a stark contrast to the ease they had known in Eden. Adam and Eve's sin brought sin and death into the world. Their disobedience introduced suffering, pain, and mortality to all their descendants. The perfect harmony they once enjoyed was shattered, replaced by a reality filled with sorrow and hardship. The fall of man is a significant event in the Bible. It is a pivotal moment that explains the human condition and our need for redemption. The narrative serves as a foundation for understanding the rest of the biblical story. It explains the origin of sin and its consequences. The act of eating the forbidden fruit was more than just a simple mistake. It was a deliberate act of defiance against God's command, leading to a cascade of negative effects that have echoed through history. It also sets the stage for God's plan of salvation through Jesus Christ. Despite the fall, there is hope. The promise of a Savior who would ultimately restore what was lost gives humanity a reason to look forward with faith and anticipation.